Hello everyone, and welcome. Before wisdom ruled the world, fear did. Before kings were praised for intelligence, they were feared for violence. Power didn't speak softly, it screamed. The ancient world wasn't guided by morality, it was shaped by survival. Empires rose not because they were right, but because they were ruthless. Egypt built monuments so large they dared death itself. Pharaohs didn't just rule people, they ruled time. The pyramids weren't just graves, they were statements. I was here, I will never be forgotten, but memory isn't wisdom, and stone doesn't make a man eternal. Then came Babylon, who believed order was everything. Their laws were carved into stone. Justice wasn't debated, it was imposed. An eye for an eye, a life for a mistake. Babylon didn't ask why humans fail, it only punished them when they did. But order without mercy isn't wisdom, it's just control. Assyria went even further. They ruled through terror. Entire cities were erased, not just conquered. Heads were stacked, bodies displayed. Assyria believed fear was the purest form of obedience, and for a while it worked, until fear turned into rebellion, and rebellion turned into collapse. Amidst these brutal empires there was Israel. No grand monuments, no global army. Just a belief, a dangerous belief. That their king answered not to the people, but to God. Israel didn't invent power, they inherited a promise, a covenant. Their God didn't live in palaces or demand statues. He demanded obedience and accountability, and this belief terrified every empire around them. Because a king who fears God cannot be fully controlled by men. Before Solomon, there was David, a shepherd, an outlaw, a poet. He didn't conquer with strategy, he conquered with faith. But faith doesn't erase human weakness. David rose and David fell. And from that fall, history prepared its most dangerous king, because Solomon would not rule with a sword. He would rule with the mind, and the mind is the most powerful weapon ever created. Every great ruler carries a shadow. Some are born into light, others crawl out of darkness. Solomon was born from sin, not a whispered sin, not a forgotten sin, a scandal so powerful it reshaped the destiny of a nation. His story doesn't begin with wisdom, it begins with desire. King David, the chosen king of Israel, the man who defeated Goliath, looked down from his rooftop and saw a woman bathing. Her name was Bathsheba. David knew she was married. Her husband Uriah was one of his most loyal soldiers, but power distorts judgment. When kings stop hearing no, they start believing desire is destiny. David summoned her, and that single moment changed history forever. When Bathsheba became pregnant, David didn't repent. He calculated it. He ordered Uriah placed on the front lines of battle, and then he ordered the army to withdraw. Uriah died fighting for a king who had already sentenced him. This was a profound abuse of power. But God saw it, and God did not forget. A prophet named Nathan confronted the king, not with anger, but with a story about a rich man who stole from a poor man. David burned with rage, saying, "Such a man deserves death." Nathan looked at the king and said, "You are that man." David broke. He repented. But consequences remain even after forgiveness. The child born from that affair died, but Bathsheba would conceive again, and this time the child lived. His name was Solomon. Solomon entered the world already a paradox, loved by God, yet born from sin. Chosen, yet controversial. In a royal household filled with princes, Solomon was not the strongest, not the oldest, not the obvious choice. He learned early that survival in the palace wasn't about strength. It was about silence. Solomon watched. He listened. He learned how power moved behind closed doors, how decisions were whispered, not announced. As David grew old, chaos returned. Another son, Adnijah, declared himself king. He had supporters, tradition, and confidence. Solomon had none of that, except one thing: his mother, Bathsheba. She remembered a promise. She went to David and reminded him that God had chosen Solomon. And in a final act of authority, David spoke not to please the people, not to follow tradition, but to obey God. Solomon would be king. The coronation was rushed. Oil was poured over Solomon's head. A boy king, surrounded by enemies, born from scandal, crowned by divine will. Power came early to Solomon, perhaps too early. And when power comes before maturity, it leaves scars. Solomon didn't grow up learning humility. He grew up observing fear. To secure his throne, Solomon ordered executions. Not in rage or panic, but with cold calculation. Potential rivals were eliminated efficiently. This was not David's style. This was something new. Solomon learned a dangerous lesson. Power rewards intelligence more than innocence. And slowly, the boy born from scandal became a king shaped by strategy. And that hunger would lead him to a dream that would change the course of human history. See you in the next video.